The rise and fall of the Knights Templar. In the year 1119, in the shadow of Jerusalem's sacred walls, 9 knights made a vow that would echo through history. They were sworn to poverty, chastity, and obedience, but above all, to protect pilgrims in the Holy Land. These men would become known as the Knights Templar, holy warriors in white mantles marked with a red cross. But their story is no simple tale of faith. It is a story of power, secrecy, betrayal, and a fall so dramatic it shook the medieval world. The First Crusade had carved a fragile Christian kingdom in the heart of the Middle East. Jerusalem was in Christian hands, but the roads to the city were dangerous, swarming with bandits and hostile forces. A French nobleman, Hugues de Payon, gathered a small band of knights to serve a holy purpose, to guard the paths to God's city. King Baldwin II of Jerusalem granted them quarters on the Temple Mount, the sacred site where Solomon's temple once stood. From that holy ground, they took their name, the poor fellow soldiers of Christ and of the Temple of Solomon, or simply, the Knights Templar. At first, they were poor, almost laughably so poor that their seal showed 2 knights sharing 1 horse. But with papal support and crusader fame, donations poured in from across Europe: land, gold, castles, and privileges. The Templars became more than warriors. They became bankers, diplomats, and a network of influence that stretched across continents. They invented early banking systems, allowing pilgrims to deposit money in Europe and withdraw it safely in the Holy Land. They controlled strategic castles from England to Jerusalem, and they answered only to the Pope himself, untouchable by kings and lords. By the 13th century, the Templars were one of the richest and most feared institutions in Europe. A secretive order, a symbol of divine and earthly power, and with great power came dangerous envy. When the Crusader states began to crumble, the Templars' role grew uncertain. 1291, Acre falls. The last Christian stronghold in the Holy Land is lost. The Templars retreat to Europe, wealthy, land-rich, and increasingly without a purpose. Then enters King Philip IV of France. He was deep in debt to the Templars, and their wealth tempted him. And Philip had something more dangerous than swords: ambition and fear. He launched a campaign of whispers and lies, accusations of heresy, blasphemy, and secret rituals. He said the Templars spat on the cross, worshipped idols, and consorted with the devil. On Friday, October 13th, 1307, a date that still haunts superstition, Philip struck. Templars across France were arrested simultaneously, tortured into confessions, and paraded as heretics. The once mighty order was dismantled in a storm of fear and betrayal. Pope Clement V, under pressure, officially dissolved the Templars in 1312. But the final act came in 1314 in the heart of Paris. Jacques de Molay, the last Grand Master of the Templars, was burned alive on an island in the Seine, refusing to confess to crimes he didn't commit. Legend says he cursed both the king and the pope, and within a year, both were dead. The Templars vanished as a formal order, but their legend only grew stronger. Whispers of hidden treasure, secret knowledge, and lost relics haunted Europe for centuries. From the Holy Grail to buried gold, the Templars became the subject of endless myths and conspiracy theories. They rose from nothing. They became holy warriors, global bankers, and untouchable elites. And they fell in flames, branded heretics by the very world they once served. Their story is not just about knighthood or treasure. It is about the fragile balance of power, faith, and fear in the medieval world. The Knights Templar remind us that even the most powerful can fall, and sometimes history buries its truths beneath legends. If you enjoyed this story of secrets, betrayal, and forbidden power, there are countless untold stories waiting in the shadows of history. Subscribe now to When Starts, where the past is never as simple as it seems.